Incorporated in February 1860, St. Paul's Church in the village and town of Salem, New York, held its first services in the county courthouse, not the present courthouse, which was not yet built, but its predecessor. Among the founders of the parish was local attorney Archibald McDougall, who 2 years later would recruit the Washington County Regiment to fight in the Civil War. Colonel McDougall himself was mortally wounded in Sherman's march on Atlanta, and his body was returned to Salem, where he rests in Evergreen Cemetery. Soon after the incorporation of the parish, work began on the brick hall which comprises the present nave of the church. The cornerstone was laid in September, and the first services were held in the completed building on December 13, 1860. The exterior was plain, with no distinguishing features, apart from the substantial wooden doors with elaborate wrought iron hinges. The building was roofed with locally quarried slate. The interior of the church was a simple rectangle, with the altar on a raised platform at the east end and a small foyer attached to the west end. The windows were glazed with plain leaded glass. The roof was supported by a handsome construction of wooden trusses sitting on stone capitals which were engaged in the masonry of the side walls. The original furnishings were simple and were enhanced over the years as memorials and gifts were received for that purpose. The sudden death in 1875 of a beloved rector, Father Henry Davis, spurred the parish to create a memorial in the form of the expansion and beautification of the church. Plans were made for major additions to the church building. The first phase of that program was the erection of the north transept and stone bell tower, which became the first impression one receives when approaching the church from the street. The addition was built of brick and stone and faced with gray limestone. A 1-ton bell cast in West Troy, New York, was hung in the tower. The transept provided additional seating for the growing congregation. The final major addition to the building came in 1890. The parish had acquired a used organ built by the firm of E. and G. Hook of Boston. It was necessary to build the south transept in order to house the large instrument with its many pipes and mechanical action. This time the building material was brick. However, both transepts continued the system of roof trusses mounted on stone shaft capitals, giving the interior of the church a unified appearance. Over the years, memorials and gifts have included new sanctuary furnishings and windows by Tiffany and others. At one time, the interior walls were all stenciled in the fashion that was favored by Victorians. However, in 1912, a fire starting in the basement of the church caused considerable damage to the building. The fire was contained in the basement, but the heat, smoke, and water caused damage to the floor and pews and left a coating of soot on everything in the church. In the aftermath of the fire, new joists were installed parallel to the charred ones, which can still be seen, and a new hardwood floor was laid on top of the original floor. New pews replaced the original ones, and the entire interior of the church, including the organ case, was whitewashed. In the course of time, aging and deferred maintenance had their effect. By 2006, the organ was in a perilous state. Its restoration, which included repainting the case, was the first in a series of projects to renovate the church building. In 2010, thanks to the timely receipt of a legacy from a long-departed parishioner, the roof underwent a comprehensive renovation, and the interior of the church was cleaned and painted. It would not have been possible financially to restore the Victorian stenciling, but color accents were added to window casements. At that time, it was thought that these projects and other updates and improvements had put the church in a good condition for the foreseeable future. However, after just a few years, it was discovered that moisture from condensation was continuing to affect the interior walls of the stone portion of the building. An engineer's assessment proposed a program of masonry repair and moisture mitigation, and the parish launched a campaign to raise the $90,000 this work was expected to cost. Both parishioners and the community at large responded generously. However, as this was being done, and as contractors were being contacted for estimates on the work, an additional problem of major proportions was discovered. Over the years, the main walls had splayed out several inches on each side, with a prospect that, left unattended, the walls would be in danger of collapse. The primary cause of the problem is the deterioration of supportive masonry due to the 1912 fire and erosion. Though the original construction took the weight of the roof into account, this became a factor when other conditions came into play. A revised assessment of the needed work raised the cost of repairs to $226,000. In order to secure the stability of the nave walls before facing another winter, work has already begun on installing tension rods, which will gradually draw the walls back to their fully upright position. Once the walls are plumb again, the failing exterior pilasters will be removed, and new reinforced pilasters will be fashioned to hold the walls in place. A system of gutters and drains to draw off the water that has weakened the original buttresses and walls over the years will also be installed. The previously planned work on the stone tower and transept will involve removing plaster from the walls and sealing the masonry walls from the inside, after which new sheetrock will be mounted. Plaster removal has begun. In some places, the plaster was so full of moisture from condensation that the plaster practically fell off of the wall. In order to contain the dust and allow services to continue in the church, a temporary wall has been constructed between the north transept and the nave of the church. Finally, all of the exterior masonry will be surveyed and, as needed, repointed. Everything will be done with a view to preserving the historic character of the building. Through the generosity of parishioners, friends of the parish, and many others who have responded to our need, nearly $100,000 have been raised in the first 9 months of the fundraising campaign. In addition, the Sacred Sites program of the New York State Landmarks Conservancy has committed $33,000 to the project. While still needing nearly $100,000 to fully fund the work that must be done, the parish, with the advice of our engineer and acting in faith, determined that the work should begin as soon as possible. The contract was signed in October, and work began on St. Nicholas Day, December 6, 2021. Fundraising efforts are continuing in order to bridge the remaining $100,000 gap. If you would like to contribute, your gift may be sent to the St. Paul's Church Tower Fund at the address on the screen, or you may contribute through the link on our parish website. Contributions of any size are welcome and gratefully received. In an era of declining church attendance, divisiveness within our community and across the country, and the erosion of our sense of common purpose and life, St. Paul's provides reverence, stability, history, and peace, and a commitment to promoting unity and acceptance in Salem and beyond. Preservation of our iconic building will enable us to continue this mission. We thank you for your support and invite you to join us for worship on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. May God richly bless you.